Right now, there is a version of you that is experiencing their greatest life ever. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use AI to bring that vision into reality. Hi, I'm Violet Rainwater, the creator behind the Gen X Network, where we come together every week to innovate, elevate, thrive, and rock on with AI. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this concept of future self connection. And we're going to take a look at why it's so powerful, the science behind it, and then I'm going to share with you towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around, how you can use AI to elevate, amplify, and really accelerate these results. So 1 year from now, that vision is now your reality. So when it comes to future self, a lot of it, think back to when you were younger and played make believe. If you remember make believe, we would pretend that we were lawyers or doctors or teachers. And I specifically remember how fun make believe was because it gave me this sense of adventure and possibility. And I felt like anything and everything was possible. Sadly, as we get older, jaded, whatever you want to call it, a lot of us just get stuck in that same kind of thinking. And that's why connecting to our future self is so powerful because it takes us out of our programming, our wiring, how we normally think. And for a lot of us, it's negative. I can't do this. This is never going to work out. I'm not good enough here. Those type of thought forms. And all of a sudden we shift to what is possible. The future self concept is really about using our subconscious mind and starting to impregnate our subconscious mind with new thoughts, new feelings, which create a new chemical reaction in the body, which send out a different energy than one when you are stressed and anxious. So think about how that feels when you're stressed and anxious. How does that feel in your body? What's the energy? It's stuck, it's frustration, it's I don't want to do this anymore. Whereas when you're connecting to your future self, it's like, oh, yes. Oh, hell yes. Oh, bring this on. Oh, I'm ready for this. Yes, please. More of that. There's a big difference energetically. And so we literally send out a different vibration when we're connecting to our future self. So by creating a daily habit of connecting to our future self, and I'll share with you an easy way to do this, we're actually not just boosting up our morale and, our energy for the day, we're actually creating new pathways in the brain because there's a science behind future self connection. See, our brains up until 2000, neuroscientists believed that our brains were fixed, meaning that they couldn't change, they couldn't grow, they couldn't develop. And so for people like me that had a lot of childhood trauma plus generational trauma, there was no hope for people like me. But at the turn of the century, neuroscientists realized how wrong they were because it turns out that the brain can change, it can grow, it's flexible, it can develop. And we can help in our own brain development and optimize our brain by having these new thoughts that are on a higher vibration, higher frequency, higher thought form. When you see yourself as accomplished, as successful, as wealthy, as healthy, as vital, that creates a different experience in your body and it creates a new pathway in your brain. And when you do it with repetition, that's the key to neuroplasticity, creating new pathways in the brain. You can't just do it once. You have to do it again and again and again. And so really connecting to your future self on the daily is going to support you on the short term. It's going to increase your mental health. It's going to increase your energy. Your mood is going to shoot up. But long term, it's going to create new pathways in the brain. It's going to optimize the brain. And then you will be able to operate from your highest, greatest self. And before you know it, bridge the gap. And so now that future self that you envision becomes your reality. One of my favorite examples of future self thinking and how it literally saved a life is that of Dr. Viktor Frankl. For those of you that are not familiar, Dr. Viktor Frankl was a psychologist during World War II. He was also a newlywed and he was Jewish. And so he was picked up by Hitler's army and spent years in various concentration camps, including Auschwitz. But it was during his time in Auschwitz that he realized the power of vision. You know the proverb, where there is no vision, the people perish? That's exactly what he recognized. He noticed that the people who had given up hope, that didn't think or dream of a future, were the ones that were closest to death. But what he did was absolutely groundbreaking. See, because he might have been behind the gates of Auschwitz, so physically he was there, but mentally he was connecting with his future self. He was already envisioning what it would be like to be teaching what he learned to his future students, what it would be like to be reunited with his bride that he was so in love with. In fact, he talked about how the vision of her, he would imagine her cooking for him and they're in the kitchen, and the vision of her brought him more warmth than the sun on a cold winter morning. That is the power of the subconscious mind. And that's what got him through this vision of a future where he is succeeding, where he has overcome, where he is free. Now, I discovered the power of future self connection by accident 20 years ago. It was a time in my life where I was going through a really rough time. I was going through a divorce. I lost a lot of friends. I was going from two incomes to one. Every aspect of my life was extremely difficult for me. And I had to wake up, I had to go to work. And so I started playing a silly game just to lift my spirits. I called this game 1 year later, because 1 year felt like enough of a time for me to make big changes, but not so long that it felt like it would never come. And in the game, I would act as if it was 1 year later. And I ran into a girlfriend that I hadn't seen in a year. And I just had the most amazing year of my life, the grandest experience that I could possibly have. And I started telling her in great detail about my new life. I started talking as if, acting as if, feeling as if. And what I didn't realize is that I was tapping into neuroplasticity, because it didn't take a year. Within a few months, everything that I shared with my imaginary girlfriend became my reality. And that's when I realized I was onto something, but I didn't know what it was. And that was because 20 years ago, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, it had not been brought to the mainstream. So today I understand the science behind what I was doing and why it aligned me energetically with that which I had a desire for. I had a desire to be a wholesaler. And so when I talked as if I was already a wholesaler, energetically I aligned to it. So of course I found a wholesaling position. When I spoke of the new house and how cozy it was and how much I loved it, and the high ceilings and wood floors and granite countertops and the big bathtub that I enjoyed on the daily. The moment that I entered the house, it was this as if I had written it out. That was the house that I got. That was the house that I lived in. And so 1 year later is a powerful tool. It's a powerful way for you to connect with this vision of your future self and create energetic alignment with the desires that live in your heart. So now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how to use AI to first create this vision, really bring it to life. Because if you've been disconnected, if you've never tried connecting with your future self, it's not that easy. See, we're so clear about what's not working in our lives, but to allow ourselves to pretend to step into this grand vision of ourselves is not something that comes easy for a lot of us because we're out of practice. How long has it been since you played make believe? And so we're going to use AI to create the vision. Then we're going to ask AI to create a day in the life of this future self so you can really start to feel it and experience it. Remember, we're looking for an energetic alignment. We want to feel right now what it's going to feel like when we get there, because that creates a new experience in the body, new chemistry, new message in the brain. When you see it and you feel it, your brain starts to believe it. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to show you how you can then ask ChatGPT to create a daily and weekly to-do list for you so you could bridge that gap and bring that vision into reality. So I'm going to go into ChatGPT Let's go into 4.5. I do have the paid version, highly recommend it. So I'm going to showcase how I speak into ChatGPT to help it create the vision for my 1 year later. So you're going to start with something similar, except you're going to paint a picture as detailed as you can of what you want to experience 1 year from now. Hello, today we are going to be creating my 1 year later self. The me that is living my best life ever 1 year from now, where I am sharing my message, my skill set, my knowledge all over the world. I'm speaking to various organizations and creating transformation on global stages. I'm teaching virtually, I'm teaching in person, I'm flying all over. I'm able to take my family with me. We're able to see the world together while I get to change lives. I would like for you to create this vision of me for 1 year later, where my sales consulting company is thriving, my speaking business is thriving, great work life balance. And anytime I travel anywhere, I make sure to have time to explore and be a tourist because it's one of the things I love more than anything. And so create this 1 year later image for me to get really clear on what that looks like and what that feels like. So, as ChatGPT is thinking, I just want you to notice that I didn't have a perfect prompt. I know a lot of times we hear about prompting with AI, which I think there is a time and a place. But for me, these are large language models. And so I find that if I just brain dump, AI can do the heavy lifting. So now that I've done a brain dump, this is the response that I'm getting. What it really does is it just puts everything into great detail here. And I'm not going to read this for you because this is mine personally, but what I want you to do is go in and create this. You could see I now have 4 paragraphs that allow me to really bring this vision into my life. I take it from just an idea in my head and now I bring it to life by really getting into the granular details. And that's what AI is so good for. So now that I've created such great clarity and really brought that vision to life, I'm going to ask AI to create a day in the life of. So that way I can really start connecting with the details of my vision, not just this broad, oh, I'm successful, I have a lot of money in the bank, but the details. The more that you can see and feel the details, the more you're going to create that energetic alignment within you, which is what we're going for. That is wonderful. Can you please create a day in the life of where I'm in the office that day and I have some virtual trainings that I'm doing? Let's see here, a luncheon with a huge new collaborator. And I also have some calls that I'm taking that are some sales calls that are just back to back for me, like a system. Okay, so notice that I fed it new information. So here we go. Here is my day in the life of 6:30 in the morning alignment ritual. It's like it just reads my mind. 8 a.m. CEO hour. I love this. I step into my gorgeous office, sunlight flooding through the window, and I spend the first hour of the day in my CEO energy. I love this. I would have never thought of this on my own. And so it just goes into it 9 a.m., 10:45, and it breaks down the day for me. Now, as I read this, as I connect with it, as I fall in love with this idea, what's happening inside of me? Again, I'm creating new pathways in the brain. I'm aligning energetically with the highest version of me instead of being connected to the wired version of me. So, from the wired version of me to the highest version of me. So, now that I have great clarity on what my days look like, what my life looks like, what my business looks like, and what this feels like inside of me, we're going to reverse engineer it. We're going to ask ChatGPT to now take this and create a 30-day strategy for me so that I can start implementing the things that will get me there 1 year later. And so again, we're just going to do a brain dump. That is amazing. Wonderful. Thank you, as always. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to have you create a monthly, weekly, and daily plan for me so that I can stay on track and create this life, bridge the gap between where I am and where I desire to be. So, create a strategy for me, like to-dos or check marks for me that I need to do on the weekly, on the monthly, on the daily in order to start living this reality. Now, while AI is doing all the heavy lifting in the background, I want to share with you why this third step is the most powerful because it takes your ideas and it puts it into action. AI is creating a list of things I need to do so that I'm not just in energetic alignment, but that I start taking action along this path. That I'm literally choosing the path that's going to get me to my 1 year later highest, greatest expression. So let's go back and check out what AI has created for us. All right, so as you can see here, it created a monthly plan for me, monthly focus areas for someone who has ADD. I absolutely need these type of checklists. So we have evaluate wins and lessons, set clear revenue and impact goals, book new speaking, consulting opportunities. So that's kind of like the overall focus. And then I even have a monthly checklist where it literally breaks down the tasks for me that I have to do in order to stay on this path. And last but not least, it even created a weekly plan for me. So a weekly focus, a weekly checklist, and then daily as well. It gives me my CEO priorities. It gives me the evening reset, and it even goes over the success habits that really will help me. Keeping my CRM up to date. So you see how it's no longer theory. Now it's something tangible. If you don't have a CRM, that's definitely something you want to get on the list. And so this is one of my favorite ways to bring this 1 year later vision to life. If 1 year later doesn't work for you, you can do 1 month later, one call later, one client later. You can use the same concept. You're essentially beginning with the end in mind, and then you're using AI to really connect you with the feeling, the thoughts, the frequency, the vibration. So you're in energetic alignment. And then you're using AI to help create an action list of items for you. And so today we went over the 3 ways that you can use AI to really connect with your future self by using AI to create the image in mind and then using it to create the daily granular activities and then your to-do list on what you need to do to bridge that gap. I've given you the 3-step process that is fail proof for you to literally change the trajectory of your life. It doesn't matter what your life looks like now. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have right now, what your connections are or what they're not. None of that matters because when you become in energetic alignment with your highest self, your future self, all of a sudden you create a bridge of coincidences that take you to this vision, that bring it to life. And so it's one of my most powerful tools for transformation. It's something that I myself, whenever I get stuck, I use it as a way to come out of my funk, to change my vibration, change my frequency. And I love using AI as a partner for me to co-create this vision and the action plan that I need to bring my vision into reality. Thank you guys. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you share it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. And if you tried 1 year later, let me know in the comments how it works for you. I'm excited to hear about the magic that's going to happen in your life once you start connecting with your future self.